Parked here are millions of pounds worth of posh cars. Brands that are sexy, desirable, expensive and super cool. But they've all got a dark, sinister history. Too many of these cars have been bought by innocent, well-intentioned buyers who now face losing both their motors and their money. Welcome to the Metropolitan Police Stolen Car Headquarters. Every year we lose 90 million buying stolen cars and another 50 million on internet car scams. And with the recession getting worse, people are cutting back on their car buying habits. Take these two cars, Ferrari 355, Porsche Turbo. They look great, but they represent 100 grand's worth of misery for two buyers who got crash cars welded together and a patchwork of stolen cars. Trust me, you do not want to get involved with motors like this. So as the recession gets worse, you need to get smarter. And you need to be able to spot whether that dream car is real or rogue. And you start by researching its history. Every used car buyer should do a history check to see if the car's been previously stolen, written off or imported. If you're hunting on the motors.co.uk website, you have the reassurance every car will have been history checked before being uploaded and advertised. It's the only used car sales site to do this. But however you get your prospective purchase history checked, never ever accept something the seller provides. It could be out of date or even false. Always do the check yourself, and if you think the car might be stolen, tell the cops. You also need to check out the seller. Now, my rule is simple. Treat every seller as though you're lending them money. So you know you need to trust them, you need to know where they live, and you need to know how to get hold of them later if things go horribly wrong. It makes sense. Always get a landline telephone number. Don't rely on just a mobile. Don't ever meet in car parks or lay-bys. Insist you go to the seller's home address and check it's the same as the one on the V5C registration document. Look for the little signs that the seller actually lives there, like letters with their name and address, and even children's toys. Ask for identification, like a driving license. Next, you check the vehicle identification numbers or VIN numbers. Now, if there's anything remotely dodgy about the numbers, if they've been tampered with or anything, you know that car is likely to be real trouble and have a horror story behind it. Now, most cars have VIN numbers, vehicle identification, in three different places. The first is here, underneath the tax disc, just on the windscreen. These are easy to forge and buy, so you can't really tell much about this. Underneath the bonnet, there's another couple. You can get a plate on the slam panel. In the case of this Golf, it's here. But this is a sticker, so again, it's easily forged. The one that you can really tell lots from is the one that is actually stamped into the metal here on the bulkhead. Now look at this very carefully, and if you see signs of welding, signs of crooked digits, or even tiny things like dust in the paint or overspray on any components around here, it means somebody's cut the number out, welded in a new one, and just smoothed it all over. So really look at this area very, very hard indeed. Make sure the VIN number matches the number on the V5C. Check that the V5C hasn't been altered and has a watermark. See the DVLA website for more information. And while we're on the subject of paperwork, it really is important to look carefully at any documentation you get, like the V5C and the car's service history. I know that reading through stuff like that might feel like a cure for insomnia, but it could just stop you driving home in a dud. Never ever buy if the seller hasn't got the registration document. Ask to see the current MOT and check to see if there are any old bills or receipts. You can check the MOT is genuine at www.motinfo.gov.uk. Look at the service history and check that the mileages are consistent. If you can, ring up the servicing garage to confirm that the car's history is genuine. The more paperwork you find, the better the car is likely to be. Nice, neat files of paperwork are signs of diligent ownership. Okay, so the car is legal, it's genuine, and the seller seems decent enough. You might at this point like to get a professional inspection of the car just to make sure everything is absolutely perfect, but once that's done and you want it, it's time to do the money thing. But you need to be very careful there as well.
If you pay with cash, use your common sense. Always have someone with you and get a signed receipt. If you pay by bank transfer, you can't get your money back if things go wrong. Paying by cheque or banker's draft means the seller will want it to clear before they release the car. Don't take the risk. Never pay via a money transfer company like Western Union or MoneyGram. These are only for moving money between people who know each other. And never send money to escrow or shipping agent websites. Too many are bogus and run by fraudsters.
And then, of course, there's the internet. 50% of us now find the second-hand car we're looking for on the web. But web-based car crime is up 300%. And organised criminals are placing tens of thousands of ads every year for cars that simply don't exist.
Beware of bogus buyers saying they'll transfer money into your bank account. Never give them the account number because they'll just empty it. Beware of sellers of suspiciously cheap cars that will only communicate by email and want you to pay by money transfer. Use reputable sites like motors.co.uk with safeguards that check for fraudulent ads. Make sure you understand their rules and how the sites work.
But your best defence is always going to be your instinct. That temptingly cheap car you know is going to be temptingly cheap for a very good reason. And you don't want it to end up here. So if you don't trust the seller, you don't like the car, remember, there'll always be another day and another second-hand motor. Just turn on your heel and walk away.